It was a gloomy October evening, and the wind howled through the barren trees like the lament of lost souls. The small town of Ravenwood was known for its eerie atmosphere, nestled deep in the heart of a dense, ancient forest. On this particular night, Nora, a curious and adventurous soul, found herself alone in her old Victorian house. Nora had always been fascinated by the unknown, so when she received an email with the subject line "A mystery awaits you," she couldn't resist clicking on it. The message contained nothing but an address and a cryptic message. "Embrace the unknown, Nora. Your destiny awaits at 13 Elm Street." Despite her better judgment, Nora couldn't quell her curiosity. The address led her to a decrepit and abandoned warehouse at the edge of town. The place oozed an unsettling aura, and the air was heavy with an unexplained tension. She approached the entrance, and before her was a large wooden crate, covered in tattered burlap. The crate was adorned with strange symbols and sigils, its surface rough to the touch. It bore no identifiable brand, logo, or shipping label. A shiver ran down her spine as she realized she was alone in this desolate place. With trembling hands, Nora pried open the crate's lid. Inside, she found an assortment of bizarre items. There was a dusty old journal, its pages filled with ominous drawings and cryptic writings. A sinister-looking mask with hollow eye sockets and a wicked grin leered up at her. An antique, ornate key, unlike any she had ever seen, lay nestled amidst a pile of dried herbs and strange, unidentifiable trinkets. The journal told a chilling tale of an ancient cult that had once thrived in Ravenwood, worshipping dark and forbidden forces. It described rituals involving the mask and key, rituals that granted unimaginable power but at a terrible cost. Nora couldn't tear her eyes away from the words, even as the darkness outside the warehouse grew deeper. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted, and the warehouse seemed to come alive with sinister whispers. Shadows danced around her, and the mask in the crate seemed to move on its own. Panic surged through her veins, and she knew she had to get out of there. She snapped the crate shut and fled the warehouse, leaving the mysterious items behind. But as she left, she could swear she heard faint footsteps behind her, echoing ominously in the empty space. The whispers grew louder, echoing the same sinister chant she had read in the journal. Back at her house, Nora locked the door behind her and tried to rationalize what had just happened. She couldn't shake the feeling that something malevolent had been awakened by her curiosity. As she looked out of her window, she saw the mask from the crate, its grin twisted into a menacing smile, floating in the darkness. From that day on, the veil between the unknown and the known in Ravenwood grew thinner. The town's eerie atmosphere intensified, and strange occurrences became commonplace. Nora knew she had unleashed something ancient and sinister, something that would haunt her and her town for years to come. And as she stared at the cursed mask in the distance, she realized that some mysteries should remain untouched, and some boxes should never be opened. Once upon a moonless night, in the quietest corner of the internet, there existed a forgotten product. It wasn't the latest gadget or a trendy fashion item, it was an unremarkable, dusty old box labeled only as the Enigma. The Enigma had been languishing in the darkest recesses of the virtual marketplace, overlooked by shoppers and sellers alike. One gloomy evening, a solitary figure named Alex stumbled upon this enigmatic product. He had always been drawn to the obscure, the mysterious, and the unknown. The product's description was vague and cryptic, reading, "Unlock the secrets of the Enigma and discover what lies beyond." Intrigued, Alex decided to purchase the Enigma, paying a small fee that hardly reflected its worth. A week later, a nondescript box arrived at his doorstep, covered in dust and age-worn tape. The contents of the box were just as perplexing as its description: a tattered leather-bound book filled with unintelligible symbols and a small, polished black stone that seemed to emit an eerie aura. Alex began researching the strange symbols and discovered that they were an ancient language, long forgotten by the world. He couldn't resist the urge to decipher them. Night after night, he toiled away, translating the cryptic text. As the words revealed themselves to him, Alex learned of a sinister tale. Centuries ago, a shadowy cult had crafted the Enigma as a means to summon an otherworldly entity known only as the Whisperer of Shadows. This entity promised its summoners unimaginable power and knowledge in exchange for their loyalty. However, every seeker who had attempted to harness its might had disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only a mysterious product and a haunting review. Alex became obsessed with the tale, convinced that he could be the one to finally unravel the enigma's dark secret. He studied the stone, trying to discern its purpose. Late one fateful night, as he gazed into its depths, he felt a chilling presence wash over him. Whispers, soft and menacing, filled the room. They spoke in a language that defied human comprehension, yet Alex understood their message. You seek knowledge beyond your grasp. Terrified, Alex attempted to return the enigma, but the seller had vanished from the marketplace. Desperate and trapped in a web of his own making, he continued his research, convinced that he could control the entity he had unwittingly awakened. Days turned into weeks, and Alex's health deteriorated. Dark circles formed under his eyes, and he became a mere shadow of his former self. He no longer ventured outside, consumed by his relentless pursuit of forbidden knowledge. One stormy night, as lightning flashed and thunder roared, the enigma opened itself. The leather-bound book sprung to life, its pages flipping wildly. The polished black stone levitated and merged with the book. In the midst of this supernatural display, the entity, the Whisperer of Shadows, materialized before him, a formless and malevolent presence. It whispered once more, "You sought what should remain hidden. You paid the price." Alex's scream echoed through the night, as the entity claimed him, body and soul, binding him to the cursed product he had foolishly purchased. And so, the tale of the enigma continued, buried in the depths of the internet, waiting for another unsuspecting soul to stumble upon its haunted review, forever doomed to seek what should never be known. The eerie glow of my computer screen cast an eerie ambience in the dimly lit room as I stumbled upon a bizarre and unsettling skin product review. It was well past midnight, and my curiosity had led me to a dark corner of the internet. What I found that night would haunt me for weeks to come. The review was titled "The Skin Serum That Defies Time," and it had been posted on a long-forgotten beauty forum. The author, who went by the username Eternal Beauty Seeker, described a product that promised miraculous results. It claimed to reverse the signs of aging, erase wrinkles, and restore youth with just a few drops applied to the skin. But what made this review truly disturbing was not the product itself, but the story behind it. Eternal Beauty Seeker's words painted a picture of a desperate search for eternal youth that had led her down a sinister path. She wrote about receiving an anonymous email one fateful night, offering her a chance to participate in a secret clinical trial of the mysterious serum. The sender claimed to be a scientist working on a revolutionary formula, and they needed willing participants to test it. In return, they promised Eternal Beauty Seeker the one thing she desired most: eternal youth. Curiosity had gotten the better of her, and she had agreed to participate in this clandestine experiment. The package arrived soon after, wrapped in plain brown paper and devoid of any labels or branding. Inside, she found a sleek, silver vial filled with a translucent liquid that shimmered like liquid moonlight. Eternal Beauty Seeker wasted no time. She applied a few drops of the serum to her skin, and the results were immediate. Wrinkles seemed to vanish, and her skin glowed with a radiance she had never known. Her joy was palpable in her writing, but it didn't last. As the days passed, she noticed a disturbing change in herself. Her once vibrant skin started to take on an unnatural pallor, as if the life was being drained out of her. Her reflection in the mirror appeared distorted, and her eyes seemed to lose their sparkle. Eternal Beauty Seeker began to experience vivid nightmares, each one more horrifying than the last. In one particularly disturbing dream, she found herself in a desolate forest at night, surrounded by shadowy figures that whispered her name from the darkness. In another, she saw her own reflection slowly aging, withering away until all that remained was a grotesque, skeletal visage. Terrified and desperate, she tried to contact the anonymous scientist who had sent her the serum, but all her attempts were met with silence. As she delved deeper into her research, she discovered that no one else had received the serum or posted any reviews. It was as if she was the only one chosen for this dark experiment. Eternal Beauty Seeker's final entry was filled with despair. She wrote of her fear that the serum was not meant to grant eternal youth but instead to steal the life force of those who used it. She pleaded for help, confessing that she could feel herself growing weaker with each passing day. The last post on the forum was from a user who claimed to be Eternal Beauty Seeker's friend, announcing her sudden and mysterious disappearance. The story haunted me as I closed my laptop that night, and I couldn't help but wonder if there were other unsuspecting victims of this enigmatic skin serum. In the darkness of my room, I couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister lurked in the shadows of the beauty industry, a dark secret hidden behind the promise of eternal youth. And I couldn't help but fear that one day, I might stumble upon a mysterious package, just like Eternal Beauty Seeker did, and become entangled in a terrifying tale of beauty and horror.